לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר הסדר באמונתך בלילות עלי אסוב עלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. ישמי אדוני בפועלך ונושא ידיה ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Baruch Shema
Again the rose dreams, languorous dreams, and gradually on high the stars begin to twinkle. And afar in the dark valley, the jackal accompanies the approach of night. Night falls, night falls. And so I invite you all to rise as we turn to the lighting of the candles. And we're getting a little reminder that if you do have your phones on, you might want to turn them off. But don't worry, nobody online can hear it. So I invite Michael to join us for the lighting of the candles. Oh. It's gone. Almost. Shabbos didn't quite yet want to come. אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. You may all be seated. So as we have lit the candles, we come to Shalom Aleichem, but before we sing Shalom Aleichem, I just thought we'll reflect a moment on the Torah portion of this week, because this week's Torah portion, Vayera, in Genesis chapter 18, we have angels appearing. Abraham, this is a famous story of Abraham sitting outside his tent and by the terebinth of Mamre. There was a big tree, we know, because later the angels will lean against the tree. But Abraham sits there in front of his tent and sees 3 men arriving. Maybe 3 men, maybe 3 angels. And Abraham rushes towards them. Not just my Hebrew class, Angela is smiling because she studied this with me in my Hebrew class. We studied the language of this passage. There is this urgency of rushing towards the guest and really being overly respectful, overly hospitable, of inviting them in, of allowing them to sit, of offering water to wash their feet, really welcoming the angels with good food, with the best, choicest meat of the young calf and some good cheese with it. And we had another little giggle about the kashrut of the angels as they enjoy their meal of meat and milk under the tree. Well, interestingly, the angels don't appear as often as we might think in our Torah. But nonetheless, the rabbis wonder what is their role. Clearly, in the story of Abraham and later when the angels actually talk to Sarah to share the news that she will have a child, here the angels, and also, of course, in the Akedah, where the angel stops Abraham from killing Isaac, the angels serve as an intermediary between God and humanity. But actually, the rabbis say their main function is to offer praise to God. That's their job, not necessarily to only be messengers. And the rabbis wonder who can create angels. It's an interesting question. And interestingly, they say even human beings can create angels. Every good thought, every good word, every good deed can give birth to a positive force in the universe. And maybe that is called an angel too. For these angels are eternal. They hover around us throughout our life and accompany us all the way through. The early liberal rabbis were feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the angels. So one of the things we see in a lot of the liberal liturgies is we don't like translating it as angels anymore, the messengers. Although in Shalom Aleichem we do have the mention of the ministering angels as well. But whether we are the rationalists of not being quite sure whether angels really exist, or whether we quite like the idea that maybe there is something that can accompany us, the Jewish tradition really leaves ample room for each of us, for each generation, to understand angels as we wish, whether as natural forces or as revealing moments in our lives, the divine in people we meet, or manifestations of the goodness in our world, or the inner workings of the human heart. So of whatever angels you hope to meet, whatever angels you hope to invite along for your Shabbat, let us sing together Shalom Aleichem. Let us invite the angels into our midst.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom. Malachei Elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, malachei hashalom. Malachei Elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, malachei hashalom. Malachei Elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitechem leshalom, malachei hashalom. Malachei Elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As we invited the angels to join us for Shabbat, so do we invite Shabbat in the metaphor of the Shabbat bride into our midst, with the words of Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'diborecha, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha. Ki beko haberacha, Mirosh mikedem nesuha, Sof maaseh b'machshavatecha. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorori, Ki varech kumi uri, Shir daberi, Kavod Adonai alayich nigla, Boi v'shalom atzeret bala, Gam besimcha uv'sohola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
So we sing the words of Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, a song for the day of the Shabbat.
Mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat, Tov leodot l'Adonai. Mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat, Tov leodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. L'chagit b'boker hastecha, Ve'emunatcha b'leilot. Mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat, Tov leodot l'Adonai. Mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat, Tov leodot l'Adonai.
If you would please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch
one to whom our praise is due. We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever. Please be seated. God, thank you for the gift of this day, the one ending and the one about to begin. Help me to see the moments and the hours, those I've spent and those to come, as blessings, as teachers. Guide me to service for your name's sake. Grant me comfort and rest, so that I may return to the new day with a sense of joy, hope, and peace. Then, God of old, I will become a source of love, a beacon of wonder, awe, and grace.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורת ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבת אל תסור ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Please rise.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. 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 ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, Uchtaftam al mezuzot betecha, uvish arecha.
Ani Adonai, Ani Adonai, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Ani Adonai, Ani Adonai, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Lama tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim
Please be seated. Coming through the sea was only the beginning, the giddiness of walking through walls of living water. But the story doesn't end there. Now it's desert without a map. What if the next 40 years are bone dry and desolate? Maybe it wasn't so bad, that life numb and familiar. Cucumbers and fish fresh from the Nile, certainty, a fixed path. Now hope unfolds its mighty wings, and every step risks failure. When I falter, remind me I didn't cross the sea alone. Remind me there's a mountain I'm heading toward, a promise that spans lifetimes of becoming together with you.
I've been waiting in the velvet sea, whoa. 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 I've been waiting in the mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha neta bakodesh noach tehilot osef ele, noach tehilot osef ele. I've been waiting in the velvet sea, whoa. 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 I've been waiting in the Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rivkah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Source of all, your vital energy sustains our world, redeeming it from lifelessness. The wind blows and the rain falls. The sun shines and the dew descends. With love you sustain the living. With great compassion you embrace the dead in life. You are the support of the falling, the healing of the sick and the release of the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of all strength? Who is your equal, mighty author of life and death? Planting the seeds of redemption. Trusting in you, we see life beyond death. Blessed are you, Almighty, embracing the dead within life. Kadosh ata v'nora shmecha, ve'ein lanu Eloah mibaladecha, Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated.
ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל,
Our God and God of our ancestors, May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, Eternal One, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Let us continue together. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. We'll pray twice for Shabbat just to make sure that we've got that. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. Modim anachnu lach, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך. ועל ניסיך שבכל יום ממנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. We continue together in English. Supreme source of peace, grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel, for it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples be blessed times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. We'll take a few moments for silent prayer. May the words of our mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Invite you to rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. On this day, let us dedicate ourselves anew to the task that our ancestors tried in all their higher moments to fulfill, to bring nearer a time when all your children will understand that they are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and fellowship they may be forever united before you. Then shall your sovereignty be established on earth, and the word of your prophet shall be fulfilled. Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch leolam vaed. We remember those who died in recent days and those who died at this time of the year in years gone by. On this Shabbat, we think of Brenda Shaw, grandmother of Alison Elton, of Faranas Jalali, the mother of Navid, of Laura Offenheimer, remembered by Johanna May, of Jeff Moss, the brother of Leslie, uncle to Robin, Pip, and Davina, Leah Fresco Bars, grandmother of Dorothy Aarons, Leon and Rose Lowy Königsberg, the parents of Mimi and grandparents of Jenny and Sarah, Lillian Cooper, the mother of Adele Slifkin, Maisie Freeman, the mother of Cynthia Drapkin and Olivia, Morris Angel, the father of Carol Jordan, Nikki Cole, mother of Penny Custo and Nigel, Pat Davis, the wife of Simon and mother of Belinda Rose, Zelma Bloomberg, the friend of John and Carol Kettle. Zecher Tzadikim Livracha. May all that was dear and good in their lives endure always as a blessing and as a continual influence for good. As we recite together, Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יכול וביום יכול ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדה ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. May great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us and to all those who mourn. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. In just a moment, we're going to conclude with Salam or Od Yavo, depending on what title you know it by. We're in half-term holidays, so the Cheder is on break, but and some of our Hebrew classes are on break. Not my level 4 Hebrew class, because major confusion, I think, for all our students this week, because I said it was happening, then there was an email that it wasn't happening, then I sent an email it is happening. Level 4 Hebrew is happening on Tuesday, and if you've never been to the level 4 Hebrew class and you were a bit afraid of it, you can dare to join us. We're doing Parashat HaShavua, looking primarily at the Hebrew language, but even if your Hebrew isn't so strong and you want to just have an opportunity to study the parasha and you can't make it on Fridays at noon, then on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. you have another chance. Although I have to say, if you weren't at Parashat HaShavua today, you really missed quite something. Thank you to Mark. Nelly and Angela were there. It was really spectacular Parashat HaShavua session by Mark Schultz. It was so good, I think we might have to invite him to do it again at some point for an adult education evening. The adult education series of Liberal Judaism, Forgotten Lives, Jewish Women Throughout the Ages is continuing. It's been a wonderful series so far, 2 sessions so far. This week, coming up, is Rabbi Jackie Tabik teaching about Licoricia of Winchester. So if you don't know who she is, then definitely come on Wednesday evening, that's Wednesday at 7:30. If you are interested in Israeli politics, but you are a little bit bewildered by it, then you might be interested to join my course at the Leobeck College Lea House, which will be running on Thursday evenings throughout November. It's free to sign up, but you do have to register. And for some reason, Leobeck College seems to be getting very nervous that we'll have too many students. But it's a delight to have many students. So do feel free to sign up. The information was all in the weekly email. It's lovely to have you all in the sanctuary. I'm sorry for causing confusion with mitzvah's sign language of the hands, but it's really lovely to be with you. It's lovely to have so many of you joining us from the sanctuaries of your homes. And so we sing together, thanks to the beautiful music of Lydia, who's joining us here this evening as well, with all her family. We sing together as we conclude our service.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam, shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam, shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam, shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam, shalom. May there be peace between us. May there be peace between us. May there be peace between us and all the world. May there be peace between us. May there be peace between us. May there be peace between us and all the world.
Shabbat Shalom. And so I invite you to stand in the sanctuary. Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait for your Kiddush wine till you are at the back door. But there is Kiddush wine. There is also juice for those who don't want to have wine. And I just discovered that I forgot to take the challah out of the plastic. So let me do that before we do Kiddush. It's a bit nicer. It's lovely to welcome into our Kiddush Zoom room and into our sanctuary. The congregation can see you, Charlie and Mark and Jutta and Ellie. It's really lovely to have you with us. Where did I put my Kiddush cup? Everyone is waving while And you can see the congregation. There you go. And there's somebody else, I think, waiting to get into the Zoom room. Lovely. So let us say together, let us recite the Kiddush blessings, and then if you are in the sanctuary, you can pick up your wine or juice at the back door. So we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvrtzon hinchilanu, zikaron למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. And we recite together the blessing over the bread. I'm sure we have beautiful bread. There's another person waiting, I think, in the Kiddush waiting room. David, did you break challah David? Did you bake challah? Mark, I think Jutta baked some challah, I can see. And Charlie's got some beautiful challah there. Lovely, and Walter is there. Lovely to see you all. Let's recite together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. We're going to say bye to the live stream and welcome our Zoom participants into the room.